She humiliated me over one bad test score. Made me feel stupid in front of the entire class. But she never expected my revenge on exam day. And trust me, watching her confidence crumble was worth every sleepless night. My name is Morgan. I'm 16. Sophomore year. I take honors English. It's not the hardest class. But it's not easy either. Lots of essays. Literary analysis. Timed writing. I'm not the smartest person in the room. But I work hard. I study. I care about my grades. Then there's Alyssa. Also 16. Also in honors English. But completely different from me. Alyssa is the perfect student. At least that's what everyone thinks. Straight A's. Teacher's pet. Always has her hand up. Always has the right answer. She's the girl everyone compares themselves to. And she knows it. Alyssa doesn't just do well. She makes sure everyone knows she does well. She'll announce her test scores. Brag about her essays. Compare her grades to others. Not in a helpful way. In a mean way. Like she's better than everyone else. Most students avoid her. Keep their heads down. Try not to get on her radar. I was one of those students. I didn't hate Alyssa. I just didn't want to deal with her. But she noticed me anyway. And once she did, everything changed. Because Alyssa doesn't just love being perfect. She loves humiliating anyone who isn't. And I became her favorite target. It started with a test. We just finished a unit on Shakespeare. The test was brutal. Multiple choice. Short answer. Essay questions. I studied hard. But the week before my grandma got sick. I was stressed. Distracted. Couldn't focus. And it showed. When our teacher handed back the tests, my stomach dropped. C-. Not failing. But not good. Not what I expected. I stared at the red ink on the page. Felt my chest tighten. I tried to hide it. Shoved the paper in my folder. But Alyssa saw. She sat 2 seats behind me. She leaned forward. Looked over my shoulder. And then she said it. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Oh my God. C-. Should you even be in this class? The room went quiet. Students turned. Looked at me. Then at her. My face burned. I didn't respond. Didn't know what to say. Alyssa kept going. Guys, she got lower than the school average. That's actually impressive. In a bad way. Her friends giggled. Some other students looked uncomfortable. But no one said anything. No one defended me. The teacher glanced up from her desk. But she didn't intervene. Just gave a half-hearted, Alyssa, focus on your own work. Then went back to grading. Alyssa smirked. Satisfied. And I sat there. Humiliated. Embarrassed. Angry. That was the moment I decided. I wasn't going to let her humiliate me again. I wasn't going to let her make me feel small. I was going to prove her wrong. And I was going to make sure she never mocked anyone else again. After that day, Alyssa didn't stop. She escalated. In class, she'd make little comments. Passive-aggressive digs. Hope this test goes better for you, Morgan. Don't stress too much. Some people just aren't meant for honors classes. Always loud enough for others to hear. Always with that fake sweet smile. She posted on Instagram. Cryptic stories. Not everyone belongs in honors L. With a picture of her perfect test score. Everyone knew it was about me. My friends saw it. They told me to ignore her. But it was hard. Because every time I walked into that classroom, I felt her eyes on me. Judging. Waiting for me to mess up again. One day we got another test back. I did better this time. B+. I was proud. Relieved. But Alyssa saw it and scoffed. A B+? It's cute. I got a 98. She showed her paper to the people around us. Make sure I saw. Then she turned to me. You'll definitely fail finals. Just so you know. My heart sank. Finals were in 6 weeks. They were worth a huge chunk of our grade. I couldn't fail. I wouldn't. But Alyssa's words stuck in my head. Made me doubt myself. Made me anxious. She even went after my study habits. I kept detailed notes. Color-coded. Organized. To help me learn. One day she saw my notebook. Laughed. You still take notes like that? How middle school? Her friends joined in. Mocked my handwriting. My highlighters. My methods. I stopped bringing my notebook to class. Started using loose papers instead. Hid my study habits. Because I didn't want to give her more ammunition. But then something happened. Something that changed everything. I overheard a conversation. Alyssa was talking to her friend after class. I was packing up slowly. They didn't notice me. Her friend said, "Are you ready for the final?" I heard there's a timed essay and an oral presentation. Alyssa's voice changed. Got quieter. Nervous. I hate time stuff. I always panic. And oral presentations? I can't think on my feet. I freeze. Her friend reassured her. Said she'd be fine. But Alyssa sounded stressed. My parents are already on me about keeping my 4.0. If I mess this up, they'll kill me. I stopped moving. Listen. Alyssa, the perfect student, was scared. She was good at regular tests. Written assignments. Things she could prepare for. But timed exams? Oral presentations? She panicked. She couldn't handle pressure. And suddenly I realized something. Everyone has a weakness. I just found hers. That night I made a decision. I wasn't going to cheat. I wasn't going to sabotage Alyssa, but I was going to prepare harder than I ever had before. Because finals weren't just about passing. They were about proving something. To myself, to her, to everyone who thought I didn't belong. I started studying differently, stopped comparing myself to Alyssa, focused on understanding the material. I made new notes, rewrote essays, practiced timed writing. I even stayed after school to ask the teacher questions. She seemed surprised, but she helped, gave me tips, encouraged me. I also worked on my presentation skills, practiced speaking out loud, timed myself, recorded videos on my phone and watched them back, fixed my posture, my tone, my confidence. It was exhausting, but it felt good, like I was finally taking control. Meanwhile, Alyssa was cracking. I noticed it in class. She seemed more stressed, snapped at her friends. Her hand didn't shoot up as fast. She checked her phone constantly. One day, I saw her arguing with her parents in the parking lot. They looked angry, disappointed. She looked overwhelmed. He still mocked me, still made comments, but they felt weaker, desperate, like she was trying to convince herself she was still on top. I didn't respond, just smiled, stayed calm, focused on my own work, and that seemed to irritate her even more. The week before finals, she confronted me, cornered me by my locker. Why are you so calm? You know you're going to fail, right? I looked at her, didn't flinch. Maybe, or maybe I've been preparing. She laughed, but it sounded forced. Please, you got a C- on a regular test. Finals are way harder. I shrugged. Guess we'll see. And I walked away, left her standing there, confused, off balance, because for the first time I wasn't scared of her. You could tell. That night I closed my notebook, took a deep breath, and whispered to myself, tomorrow everything changes. Finals day arrived. The hallway was buzzing with nervous energy. Students cramming last minute, trading study guides, stressing over essays. I walked in calm, confident, ready. My friends noticed. You seem really chill, one said. I smiled. I studied. I'm ready. Alyssa was already in the classroom. She looked tired, stressed. Her hair wasn't as perfect as usual. Her makeup seemed rushed. She was flipping through notes frantically. When she saw me, she forced a smile. Walked over. Ready to fail like always? Her voice was sharp, mean, but there was something else underneath. Fear. I just looked at her, smiled. Good luck, Alyssa. And I sat down. She blinked. Thrown off. Other students noticed the exchange. Whispered. Something felt different. The dynamic had shifted. The teacher passed out the exams. 2 parts. First, a timed essay. 1 hour. Analyze a passage from a novel we'd studied. Second, an oral presentation. 5 minutes. Defend an argument about a character's motivation. No notes allowed. The timer started. I read the prompt, took a breath, and started writing. My hand moved fast. Confident. Ideas flowed. I'd practiced this. I knew what to do. Around me, students scribbled. Some looked stressed. Some looked focused. But Alyssa, she was panicking. I could see her from the corner of my eye. Her pencil kept stopping. Starting. Stopping again. She kept erasing. Rewriting. Her leg bounced under the desk. She looked at the clock. Then back at her paper. Then at the clock again. Sweat beaded on her forehead. Students started noticing. Whispers spread. Is Alyssa okay? She looked stressed. I've never seen her like this. The perfect student facade was cracking, and everyone was watching. Time was called. Papers collected. The teacher gave us a 10-minute break before the oral presentations. Students rushed to the bathroom, grabbed water, practiced their arguments. I stayed seated, reviewed my notes mentally, stayed calm. Alyssa sat at her desk, head in her hands. Her friends tried to talk to her, but she waved them off. She looked like she was on the verge of tears. Almost felt bad. Almost. The teacher called us back. We'll go in alphabetical order. Alyssa, you're first. Alyssa's face went pale. She stood slowly, walked to the front of the room. Everyone watched, waited. He started talking, but her voice shook. She stuttered, lost her place, forgot key points. She kept saying, and like. Her argument didn't flow. She contradicted herself. The teacher looked confused, concerned. Students exchanged glances. Some looked uncomfortable. Others looked shocked. Alyssa tried to recover, spoke faster, but it made things worse. She mixed up character names, misstated plot points. Her hands trembled. She kept glancing at the clock, desperate for it to be over. When the 5 minutes ended, she stopped mid-sentence, almost ran back to her seat. Her face was bright red, tears welling in her eyes. The room was silent, awkward. No one knew what to say. The teacher cleared her throat. Thank you, Alyssa. Next, Morgan. I stood, walked to the front, took a breath, and began. My voice was steady, clear. I stated my argument, backed it up with evidence, quoted passages from memory, analyzed character motivations. Connected themes. My presentation flowed. Natural. Confident. Practiced. The teacher nodded along. Took notes. Some students leaned forward. Engaged. When I finished, the room was quiet. Then the teacher smiled. Excellent work, Morgan. Very well done. A few students clapped. Not loud, but genuine. I sat down, my heart pounding, but I felt good. Proud. I'd done it. The rest of the presentations continued, but everyone kept glancing at Alyssa. At me. The shift was undeniable. A week later, final grades were posted. I checked mine first. A on the essay. A minus on the presentation. Overall final grade, a minus. I stared at the screen. Couldn't believe it. I did it. I actually did it. Then I saw Alyssa's grade. Posted publicly by mistake. The teacher fixed it later. But not before several students saw. B+ on the essay. C on the presentation. She barely passed. Her 4.0 was gone. The next day Alyssa was different. Quiet. Subdued. She didn't brag. Didn't make comments. Just sat at her desk. Head down. Some students felt bad for her. Others were relieved. The terror of being mocked was gone. After class she approached me. I was surprised. She looked tired. Defeated. How did you do that? Her voice was soft. Not mean. Just genuinely confused. I looked at her. I stopped trying to compete with you. I tried to outdo myself. I focused on getting better. Not on beating you. She nodded slowly. Didn't say anything else. Just walked away. I don't know if she learned anything. He changed. But I did. I learned that hard work pays off. That confidence comes from within. That you don't need to tear others down to lift yourself up. My friends congratulated me. My teacher pulled me aside. Told me she was proud of my growth. That I'd earned that grade. Felt amazing. Not because I beat Alyssa, but because I proved to myself that I belonged. That one bad test score didn't define me. I kept taking honors classes. Kept working hard. Alyssa stayed in the class too. But she was quieter. Less arrogant. Maybe humility was good for her. Maybe not. Either way, she never mocked me again. Never mocked anyone again. I made new friends. Students who'd been scared of Alyssa before. We formed study groups. Helped each other. Built each other up instead of tearing each other down. And for the first time, school felt less like a competition. More like a community. She humiliated me once over a test score. Made me feel worthless. But on exam day I proved her wrong. Not by sabotaging her. Not by being cruel. But by working harder than I ever had before. And that made all the difference. My revenge wasn't about destroying Alyssa. It was about proving to myself that I was capable. That I belonged. That one bad grade didn't define me. And in the end that was so much better than any mean-spirited payback. So that's my story. The time the perfect student humiliated me over a test score and I proved her wrong on exam day. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been mocked over grades or test scores? Has anyone ever made you feel like you weren't smart enough? Tell me your story in the comments. Drop a me if this has ever happened to you. And if you want more academic revenge or school rivalry stories, let me know. Should I do a story about project partners? Or maybe a scholarship competition? Drop your ideas below. I'll see you in the next one.